morning and welcome, friends, to our ULT meeting on Sundays at 11 a.m. We also have a study class on the first and third Sundays of the month, and we are studying the ocean of Theosophy. You can find us at www.washhdc.org, and you can also attend the meetings. They are free to all who wish to attend. From last week's talk, we heard that there was this statement on the temple of the college at that time in Alexandria, which said, "Men, know thyself." And to the finding out of what that statement is, who we really are, what our constitution is made up of, the principles that are encompassed in that constitution, which part of us is permanent, immutable, and universal, and what is the highest aim for humanity to achieve. To this end, the 19th century philosophy of the masters, which is recorded in the writings of H.P.B. and William Quan Judge, was directed. This is then a tremendous undertaking on behalf of humanity for the students of Theosophy to assimilate the teachings presented, to make it their own, and then to disseminate that knowledge in the furtherance of unity and brotherhood. This ULT is one of many with this purpose, and the unity amongst the students that constitute the brotherhood of each ULT is the similarity of aim, purpose, and teaching. Today's reading comes from the voice of the silence. Now thou hast heard that which was said, thou shalt attain the seventh step and cross the gate of final knowledge, but only to wed woe if thou wouldst be Tathagata. Tathagata means Buddha. Follow upon thy predecessors' steps, remain unselfish till the endless end. Thou art enlightened, choose thy way. Behold the mellow light that floods the eastern sky. In signs of praise both heaven and earth unite, and from the fourfold manifested powers a chant of love ariseth, both from the flaming fire and flowing water, and from a sweet-smelling earth and rushing wind. Hark! From the deep, unfathomable vortex of that golden light, in which the victor bathes, all nature's wordless voice, in thousand tones, ariseth to proclaim, joy unto ye, O men of Mialba. A pilgrim hath returned back from the other shore. A new Arhan is born. Peace to all beings. And now today's talk, Thou art that.
welcome to the today's talk on Thou art that. And there's lots of reference to Thou art that in various teachings, in Gnostics, in Sufism, in Buddhism. But today we'll focus what the masters that delivered their knowledge to us through Theosophy spoke of that, and what knowledge they shared with us through the writings of Madame Blavatsky. And most of this talk will be actually based on the Voice of Silence, on the book called Voice of Silence. So I would like to begin with one of the profound statements or writings that I found in preparation for this talk that comes from the Gnostic teachings. Self-knowledge is knowledge of God, the self and the divine, identical. Abandon the search for God and the creation and other matters of similar thought. Look for Him, but taking yourself as a starting point. Learn who it is within you who makes everything His own and says, my God, my mind, my thought, my soul, my body. Learn the source of sorrow, joy, love, hate. If you carefully investigate these matters, you will find God in yourself. And today we will speak of the key concepts that in a way hold us back from realizing that divine nature in us and realizing it now. In the reading that came today from the Voice of Silence, there was a reference to the pilgrim. And that reference goes throughout the book. The pilgrim is every and each one of us. It is the soul traveling in search of understanding and knowledge and our divine nature. I very much enjoyed the Hero's Journey by Campbell because it very much presents the journey of the pilgrim. I apologize for a small picture, but that's all that could be printed, where the pilgrim starts its journey with each birth and travels the cycle of transformation when it goes through the call to adventure, and the call to adventure is our birth. This is the call to adventure, call to exploration, where it reaches the threshold between the known and unknown. And then it goes through the challenge, and each of our lives present us those challenges. Then it goes through transformation, atonement, and return to its divine nature, as there is no other return to anything else. It is a return to our divine nature. As you see, there are two circles, one known and one unknown. And in fact, we can travel our entire lifetime and multiple lifetimes just circling through the known and never even touching the unknown part. But in the known, there is no challenge. In the known, there is no transformation. In the known, there can be no return to divine nature. It is the cycling through the known body physical experience. Therefore, the journey of the pilgrim that Madame Blavatsky describes in the Voice of Silence is the journey through the unknown. And that unknown is our divine nature, our return to that divine nature. And we would like to explore in this talk several concepts that are very complex, but they are key to understanding that we are not just divine at some point, we are gods now. The first concept is the concept of the egg and alaya. If we go back to the very basics of the Theosophic teaching and to the secret doctrine, there is the unmanifested being or unbeing that is timeless. There is no time in it. There is no manifestation. There is no existence. And then there is the expression, the descent into the form, and this is where the universal soul, the oversoul, or the anima mundi is expressing itself, and that's the alaya. And this is now. All of this is happening now. It's not happening in the 10-time lifetimes. It's not happening in the future. It is happening now. When we speak of alaya, it is something hard and at the same time easy to comprehend. It is the oversoul, it is the all that exists, it is both spiritual and it is both physical, it is the expression of all being. And each of us have a ray of it in us, but at the same time, we exist in nowhere but in it. We are a complete part of that. When in our human mundane understanding of time, we have past, we have present, and we have future, and we divided everything happening in our life in the 3 dimensions. And in English language, we even designed past perfect, past imperfect, present continuous. There are so many different segments of time, and we separate our life and our plans in the time, that in the past I've done this, in the future I'll do that, and we really separated with that time structure ourselves from alaya, because in the reality there are only 2 states. I don't want to call them times, but there is a timeless state where nothing really exists. There is no even time. I would even say it's not timeless, it is now-less. And there is now. So anything that may be happening to us is happening or now-less or now. So if we are gods, we are gods now, or we are not. So in a way, if we convince ourselves that we will be gods when we grow up, when we mature, when we gain understanding, sometime in the future, maybe in several lifetimes, in reality, when you look at the existence, it's happening now or it's not happening. So it is happening now, and it is the shift that has to take place. And the next concept that is very important is a concept of space that is very much explored in all religions that we're aware of. It is similar in Christianity, it's similar in Islam. It is the concept of kingdom of God and hell. Madame Blavatsky also calls hell Avicii in the Voice of Silence and refers the journey of the pilgrim to that as well. So we have designed in our understanding 2 spaces, the kingdom of God and the hell. And even though they're not in a physical space, we've put it in a certain space that one is in one place and the other one is the other place. But if we go back to the concept of the egg and alaya, it is not anywhere or it is here. So in a way, there is only here. That means it exists at the same place now. And once we realize that the whole spatial notion that we have created does not exist, it is no longer a place, it is a state. And once we see it as a state that exists in this very present moment, there is really no need for time or distance to travel. It is the shift of the state that can happen in us right now, immediately, if we shift our understanding and our consciousness. So in a way, all what happens to realize our divine nature is a shift in our consciousness. But why is it so difficult? Why we simply do not shift? We just continue through lifetimes and experiences without shifting. And why we simply cannot create that shift within ourselves, that we are almost stuck in our reality that we have created, and it's not an ultimate reality. This is the reality that our vibration has created. The challenge with the shift, that shift, and that's where the entire existence and lifetimes comes in place, that shift in the state happens through experience. That in a way, it is the experience in this physical form and here on earth in our physical bodies that create that shift in our state. And this is why we are born again and again, to have these experiences that can move us towards the shift in the state between the continuum of the kingdom of God and the hell. But all of this exists within us now, and we can realize that divine nature and be gods right now without any delay or any further knowledge or understanding. It's literally shifting our understanding of who we are and what we can be. And now the question of who we are and how we define ourselves. And this is where the beginning of lots of misconceptions and limitations happen, because there is a concept of Om. And what is Om? Om is the original vibration of all existence coming into the form. It is the beginning of expressed universe. And if you say Om, it has a specific vibration to it. It has a sound Om. When we say that I am this and that, I say I am American, I am professor, I am Om, I am, period. There is nothing to be added to I am. I exist. I am being. I am part of Alaya. I am part of the Oversoul. I am part of all that exists. And the moment we take that period away and we continue, it is as I am a Chinese, I am an American, I am a professor, I am a doctor, I am Christian, I am married, I am single. We're creating separation. We're separating ourselves from all what is. We are no longer I am, we become a segment of all what can be. And with that we're removing ourselves further and further from being God, because God is I am. The challenge with that is that this is how we seek separation and self-definition. But once we self-define and I create an identity, the next step is to merge that identity into the Oversoul again, and to realize that separating yourself and making yourself smaller by I am this or that is literally making yourself smaller and not being all that can be and all that is, because the potential of being all that is so much greater. Now, what does it really mean to be a God? That's probably one of the biggest questions we ask, because we're happy to realize that I am God now, but what does it mean? And the very interesting passages that are in the Voice of Silence that led the student to believe that being God is simply vibrating in the harmony of the vibration of the heart of the universe, of that Oversoul of Alaya. Basically, being the vibration of the Alaya and uniting yourself in that vibration. And that vibration is a vibration of unity with everything that is. A unity with, be it a tree, a flower, a bird, another human being, anything that is. And it's literally a vibration. It is a state of being, and here we're speaking of state. It is simply a state of being. But as long as we define that I'm this and I'm not that, we simply cannot vibrate with anything else, because to align our vibration with everything that is, you have to start limiting what I'm not and what I am, and dividing and separating things. Now, what does the Voice of Silence says about the vibration? And that was very, very interesting passage that I would like to read. It's written, "Of teachers there are many. The Master Soul is one, Alaya, the universal soul. Live in that Master as its ray in thee. Live in thy fellows as they live in it." And another passage is about the actual unification with Alaya. Thou hast to saturate thyself with pure alaya, become as one with nature, soul, thought. At one with it thou art invincible. In separation thou becomes the playground of samvriti, origin of all the world's delusions. So it seems the answer to being a god is being one with alaya and being one in this original vibration of Om, I am, without any further separation. Now, how to realize that? It's easy to say you can realize it now and be God now, just shift, but the challenge is that it's not that simple. And this is what Voice of Silence also gives us a reference to, and basically it calls it an attunement to the alaya. And Madame Blavatsky writes of 7 portals and 7 keys. And they are most critical to realizing how to make that shift in consciousness that once again is timeless and it's happening here, not somewhere else in some other time. And we'll go over the 7 keys as they're very simple to understand but not that simple to implement. The first key is dana. And dana is unconditional giving and love. And one of the very important concepts of dana, it is a concept of letting go. Letting go of any outcomes or results of giving. It's literally a state of giving. And if we look at what is the hardest to give, it's actually not that hard to give money. It's not that hard to give effort. It's not that hard to give support or help. What is hardest to give is to give ourselves. And when we give ourselves, we accept non-judgment, no criticism. We accept other being as part of us. And that's when we give ourselves. Basically giving away your preconceptions, your judgments, and your I am this or that, and you are not this. And through that giving of yourself, then all other giving can be made possible. The second key is SHILA. Once again, I would like to go with the Sanskrit terms and then try to explain them in a multiple English words, because once I was reading the Voice of Silence, I was very disappointed. It was so hard to understand. But that forced this student to go and learn what the Sanskrit words mean, and they had almost a rainbow of meaning. They are very, very complex and deep, and it's very hard to translate them just in one word. And I think it's important to retain the Sanskrit word and then go and seek understanding of that term. It's almost like Om. It is a vibration. So SHILA is the concept of harmony. It is a commitment to harmony, and in a way that vibration with the oversoul, harmonious vibration with the entire universe. It was very interesting to see that in English language we often see harmony as a morality or as an obligation or something that we all have to do, when SHILA expresses more an inner compass. It is the harmony in every given situation to react to that situation in accordance to that situation. There is no set rules, what is good, what is bad. It's literally a harmony with any given situation and doing what makes sense in a least harmful way in that situation. And seeking harmonious living with human beings, within our society, within our family, within nature, and within the entire universe, within cosmos. The third one is KSANTI. And KSANTI is patience and forgiveness. And once we look at each concept, like KSANTI, over the concept of patience and forgiveness, it very much leads to understanding of dana and shila. They're all connected, as forgiveness cannot be possible if you are not in a state of harmony. If you did not synchronize yourself with all the other beings and all that exists, that it is very important to go through each portal and to go through each and to have each key. That in a way one cannot say that I'll just skip one and just focus on the other attribute. The fourth one is viraga, and that is one of the probably most complex terms, is the concept of detachment. Detachment from pleasure and detachment from pain. It is complex because in English language we often understand detachment as a non-action, as non-care, when in fact the detachment meant in the Sanskrit term viraga is the detachment from the outcome of pain or pleasure for oneself. But it absolutely does not mean indifference to the presence of joy or pain in the world. But it is the best way to get a sense of that term is if you look at the entire existence as Maya, you know it's illusion. The only thing that exists is the perceiver, is who in this Gnostic reading that was presented in the beginning, is the one who is perceiving, who is thinking, this is my body, this is my thought, this is my God. If you fully understand the concept of Maya and illusory nature of all that exists, you can still enjoy your chocolate ice cream. But are you really going to be attached knowing it's rubber? It's the understanding of the true nature of things that would break down that attachment. You still care because you still exist in this plane, but you are not attached to having it or not having it, or you fully understand that it's meaningless to have it just for yourself. So it is a state of a mind, I would call it mindful detachment, when you care but you are not attached to having. The next key is VIRYA. And in a way, VIRYA is a contradictory term to VIRAGA if it is also not studied in its depth. VIRYA is energy, it's enthusiasm, it's an effort, it's what drives all things. And it's interesting that even in English language there are certain similarities to the Sanskrit term, because such a words as virility and vigor probably originate from virya, vir. And if you can see vir as the root of it, this is basically the concept of energy. This is enthusiasm and something that you are really passionate about doing. And when you look at the viraga of the notion of detachment, it is completely opposite but not contradictory, because you are not attached, but you can be absolutely passionate in advancing your own consciousness or being in your divine state, and you can be absolutely passionate and energetic about advancing the consciousness and the state of humanity, or the all beings, all life beings, and the all universal state. And to me this is one of the key terms that often being overlooked in more of a contemplative philosophies, that you can be simply in a state of non-action and not creating karma and being completely in the world but not in it. This term shows that you have to be passionate, enthusiastic, and bring the energy to the existence in which you are, because without it really nothing is possible. It is our passion, it is our absolute unconditional love and giving, harmony with all beings, patience and forgiveness, detachment from the personal results, that takes us through the 5 portals and bring us closer to being gods and realizing our divine nature. The 6th key is dhyana. Dhyana is the best way to describe meditation, consciousness, awareness, not only self-awareness, but awareness of all that is and awareness of yourself in all that is. It's a meditative state of consciousness. And it's also very interesting how it complements the other states, because if you are in a complete enthusiasm but you don't self-reflect and you don't go in a meditative state where you can basically align yourself vibrationally with alaya, then you're missing that very important aspect. And the last key is prajna. And that word consists of two words in Sanskrit, pra, ajna. And pra is the higher, and jna is more of a inside connection, alignment. So prajna is basically a state of discernment, a state of insight, and this is the ultimate divine nature that in many ways masters possess, of discernment what is a correct action of given situation, what is a situation, what is the big picture of any given situation, because often we see situation as a broken piece of I am this and that is that. Basically, prajna is the state in which you can have the insight and discern of all that is, of I am and all that is. So those are the 7 keys to the 7 portals, and now I will read it directly from the Voice of Silence. So seest well, Lanu, these portals lead the aspirant across the waters onto the other shore. Each portal has a golden key that opens its gate, and these keys are. And when Madame Blavatsky writes of the other shore, this is basically the other shore. And when she speaks of the portals, those are the challenges and mastery and transformation that we are going through to get to the other shore. And the other shore is transcendence into the divine nature. And probably one of the most important things of this talk is that it's not happening in time or in space. It's happening now or it's not happening. So back to the keys. The first key is Dana, the key of charity and love immortal. The second key is SHILA, the key of harmony in word and act, the key that counterbalances the cause and the effect and leave no further room for karmic action. Key number 3, KSANTI, patient sweet that naught can ruffle. Key number 4, VIRAGA, indifference to pleasure and to pain, illusion conquered, truth alone perceived. Key number 5, VIRYA, the dauntless energy that fights its way to the supernal truth out of the mire of lies terrestrial. Key number 6, DHYANA, whose golden gate, once opened, leads to Narjo, towards the realm of Sat eternal and its ceaseless contemplation. Key number 7, PRAJNA, the key to which makes of a man a god, creating him a bodhisattva, son of the Dhyanis. Such to the portals are the golden keys. Before thou canst approach the foremost gate, soul, last to learn to part the body from thy mind, to dissipate the shadow, and to live in the eternal. For this thou hast to live and breathe in all, as all that thou perceivest breathe in thee, to feel thyself abiding in all things in self. So shalt not separate thy being from being, and the rest, but merge the ocean in the drop within the ocean. The way the student interprets this is that feeling of all light, all powerfulness, all freedom, all carelessness, all light, all giving and love is truly in vibrating together with that ocean and with that oversoul, with that overall being. As any separation in our understanding or in our conceptualization of self leads us from breaking away from that overall ocean, overall being, and creates I with the small letter, not the capital I am. And now I'll finish it with the small story of a personal nature that happened to this student during preparation for this talk. I prepared this talk on Friday, and I actually felt quite good about myself. I said, I understood quite a bit through this preparation. I understood that there is no other time but now, the rest does not exist. I understood that it happens here or nowhere, and it's really realizing it right now. I can literally wake up tomorrow and be divine. And I felt really good, and I put everything on paper, and the next day I had a horse lesson. And when I arrived for the horse lesson, the teacher said, you're getting a new horse. And that horse took another rider for a very, very dangerous ride. It was unstoppable. It was just going in a circle in a full gallop, and nobody could stop. And I said, no, I'm not doing this now. This is dangerous. I'm not going to do this now. I said, I can do regular things, but I'm not going to canter. This is not for today. And the instructor said, okay, now you're going to canter. That's your time. Go. And I said, no, not today. I said, why not today? I said, today, first, this is a new horse. I don't know it yet. I need to get acquainted. Second, I didn't have a lesson for a while, so I need to a little bit get in shape. And third, the wind is strong, and I don't feel like it's not a good day for that. And she said, then when? If it's not now, what will be better in 2 weeks? I said, no, I can't. And then she looked and said, why not? And I said the truth. I'm afraid. I am immobilized. I'm so afraid because I don't think I can control this animal. And I'm going to fall, and I'm really afraid. I can't do it. And then she looked at me and said, so what made you think that in 2 weeks you will? Because the truth is, you're afraid. And to give you a picture of my instructor, she's about 80 years old lady who dealt with horses and tough people her whole life. And she looked at me, she got in a very tough position, and she said, you're going to do it now, because all you need is to shift your mind that you can. And when she said that, I realized that of everything I've prepared on Friday, I didn't practice anything. Because first, if you see that horse as our life, yes, it is uncontrollable. We see it as a turbulent, and it can take us for the gallop, and we don't know what will happen. But in reality, we control that animal. It will listen to us if we believe that we can. And if you cannot now, what makes you believe that you can in 2 weeks? Because nothing changes. Because it's not about time, it's not about space, it's about the state of mind of knowing that I can. So I feel that this experience was needed to strengthen my beliefs and knowledge that I obtained from the Voice of Silence that was presented today, to really have that feeling that the truth is we are afraid to be gods. But we can, and now. And all what is needed is to shift the way we think. And to have that instructor, to have that master who will not do it for us, but will push us and to say, you can. Thank you.
Wow.
Did you ride the horse finally?
Yes. Successfully and finally, and there was nothing bad about it. Of course I could. It was,
Can
I
I-
was paralyzed with fear.
Questions?
Questions?
You're not going to get away that easy.
Questions?
Since I got the mic, I wanted to first, I guess, comment and ask a question.
Or but I'm not sure
This
I know
student
the
has
answer.
read something to the effect, and please don't hold me to this quote, that the difference between where we are now and thinking we are something less than gods and being a master is the understanding of the ultimate division of time and space. It sounds like that's basically where you started today.
Mhm.
So that's Is that a kind of a goal? Well, obviously, the things you're talking about on the human level or the level, the challenges we have every day. You talked about the unknown. Do we get to the unknown, I guess is my question.
Mm-hmm.
Through these challenges we have in the known world, do we get a little bit more information and a little more knowledge of and a little more perfection in our actions as a result of that?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, the students thought quite intensely about what actually keeps us from being gods after preparation for this talk. And is it the space, is it the time, is it the limitations to impose on ourselves? And why do we create this, I'm this and I'm that, and I need this and I'm going to take more of that? Basically, the key answer is not the time, space, or all of the limitations, but fully understanding the and I am. I am I, yes. When we try to do anything that is less than being gods, in reality we're trying to survive. We're afraid that we will not have enough money, that we won't have enough resources, we won't have enough food, we won't have enough appreciation, we won't have enough whatever it is to survive. Because we need to survive no matter what. But what if we don't? Does it really matter? Because I am I, and I'm eternal. There's nothing to survive. There is nothing to prove. There is nothing to acquire. I am already. I exist.
I have another comment. I just wanted to say, if you can visualize that whatever you see and whatever you feel, the whole world is just a visualization. It's just virtual. It's not really exist. It doesn't exist. That will give you a kind of peace of mind that no matter what happens, nothing is going to affect you. And the other part is, if there is a big intelligence that connects everything together, if you are in any place, you have been provided with all the means that you need in order to survive that condition. So there is no reason to be afraid. I think that's the key.
Wait, the mic is coming.
Otherwise, no one is going to hear me. Okay, this is a wonderful topic that has been presented today. However, when we are in incarnation, that personality, my name and my form and my lower mind, and the other that is permanent in me is co-joined through the mind principle. But depending on the thought process, I can bring it down to the earth, to the ground, or underneath it, or I can uplift it to that God that I am. And this is what's in the way. And we are told through those 7 keys that you gave us today that the first rule, dana, is charity and love. And if in my heart I have none, I am totally concentrated on my little world and myself. I'm selfish. I'm self-centered. I have no feeling for anyone else. I have no compassion for no one else. I do not help anyone else. Would then that enable me to rise higher? Because whether we are in concentration on the one life, which is alaya, in samadhi, which is a very high state of consciousness, and this is what meditation eventually does, or whether I am just learning to concentrate at the bottom level of meditation, I still have to align my consciousness with thou art that. In life and in death, I am that, because there is no other that is permanent, universal, and immutable. But if it just depends which aspect I'm aligning myself in earth life, because she says the consciousness can go up and the consciousness can come down. So to to understand that, I think, is also a key in opening these channels for us. Because if we live for ourselves and we're selfish, it will not do so. Because you said that you have to align yourself to the universal heartbeat of our cosmos, and in this case perhaps the solar system. However that may be, that requires also being able to shut the lower aspects. You have to get rid of the lower mind's vibration, which is what happens in sleep, and that's why we can rise in consciousness and experience all that we are in sleep, which is the real life of the divine self in us.
The comment which was made about the need to have someone who will push you to, the action against your fears. You call it a master. I feel, this is very true. So we need that kind of push of confidence, in these moments of doubt. So the question is, do you think that that master can be a spiritual being, or it has to have a physical also? Like in your case, you had a physical person who pushed you. If you had a spiritual master who would guide you, to jump over abyss, would you do that?
There is this wonderful
When I say
passage.
spiritual, I mean non-material.
There is a passage that I read during the talk. Of teachers, there are many. The master soul is one, Alaya, the universal soul. When we look into this passage, what does it actually mean? There are many teachers, but the real teacher is the Alaya, universal soul, and all experiences that happen to us. Some days VIRYA is my teacher. Some days it's my force instructor. Some days I may have some vision in a dream. Some days I may have some situation at work, and the person maybe whom I really did not like is my teacher. Teachers are many.
Your talk brought home, I guess, in a different way, my thinking on this. When you're talking about your master, you said start within, okay, which really means your master is the all. And it really means that, yes, this talk today was very helpful in focusing attention on the area. So to the degree you were an external master today, but I am my master. I have to assimilate this and go out and do it.
That's what
And so, that's where the master is in this student's view.
the title master will not add anything. It is the substance of the giver and the receiver. And that can be anyone. And it's very true that if the receiver is not receiving, there cannot be a master.
So just to come back to this topic, if let's say if it's all about now and not 2 weeks from now, it's right now. So if we want to shift to the God's consciousness right now, what exactly do we do?
I tried. Those are the 7 keys, but each key can be a study of its own, or it can be it's a state. And at times you will find yourself in that state, and at times you'll find yourself completely out of that state. Like I can say, have you ever found yourself in a situation where you're sitting somewhere by yourself in a place you didn't intend to be, maybe in the forest by the creek, and you feel it? You feel that connection to everything. But then with some situations we get so torn apart that we're completely not connected even to ourselves. So in a way, the becoming gods is connecting to, first of all, ourselves. And then through ourselves, that's something that Tunja spoke, that we are. I am I, and we cannot deny that I am I, but through that I to connect to Alaya.
You also talked about Avicii, but HBB defines Avicii as the earth. And she says, do not think that your consciousness does not shift during the day. And this is the example you gave. It is Mr. Judge's writing, I believe, who addressed the fear. That when you feel fear, it freezes you. and you can't move. That's one of the Avicii conditions. The second one is anger that they mention, because he says that is the worst one. What it does is it shatters the astral. In other words, the astral body disperses within you, and then you have to make an effort to put it back together. It's electromagnetic, and it just, I don't know how it happens, but that's his explanation. Envy is the other. Envy apparently makes the astral body very blurry. If your vision is unclear anyway, according to your description, that adds another layer to it. It's like petrification occurring within yourself. So these things that we say as a word have an inner meaning when applied to our levels of consciousness, because Avicii is right here. Those conditions that we suffer, like pain and all these that we have just listed, actually change the constitution of man, and hence your consciousness and constitution go together, your feeling nature go together, and so your physical makeup changes. Please also, she reminds us to remember that each atom in the body is one of those circles that you put on that board, that each one has a life and memory of its own, but they all sacrifice to one another, and they work unity as a body so that we can have existence on earth. Not only do we have a responsibility to higher, but we have a responsibility right here to uplift these diminutive beings, is what they're called.
Thank you so much for bringing up the definition of Avicii as the earth. If anybody is afraid of anything after reading how Madame Blavatsky defines hell, I don't think there is anything to be afraid. And this is the quote. The esoteric doctrine, Myalba is our earth, pertinently called hell, and the greatest of all hells. There is no bigger hell than where we are right now. So the only way is up. By the esoteric school, the esoteric doctrine knows of no hell or place of punishment other than man-bearing planet of Earth. Weather.
So we need to change our thinking from a location to a state of mind.
We are at the bottom, so the only way is to go up. That's why we have so many experiences to shift this. Pain. Yeah. And any experience, be it joyful or else, it will go through the roller coaster of pain and joy. It's unavoidable unless you are out of that.
We can also look at it, I think, as...
Wait.
we can look at it as harmonizing, because if I have caused a disturbance in the Akashic light, because it is recorded, then it is my responsibility to bring it back to its original condition, because you said harmony rules the universe, and our thinking, our words, and our actions is what disharmonizes. So in order for the unity to be harmonized again, I'm given an opportunity to put it back. Nature does not forgive. It records our actions and speech and so forth, but it gives another opportunity to correct it. And this is the experience you're talking about it. This is how we learn. We can do something in error, but we're given another opportunity to eradicate that error and bring it back to harmony again. And this is very important to remember, that dynamic force in the universe is man himself. She says we are the highest on earth, and so nature has collected all of the lower as well as brought all of the higher aspect into man, and we can become a combination of all of the hierarchies that give us our spiritual essence. It's important to remember.
So if anything bad happens to you, this is the moment of opportunity. All you can say is how exciting.
I deserve it.
Give me a chance.
Yeah. No, this is exciting because this is a moment of going certain direction. It's going to move me.
Right. And remember SHILA during those times. And then KSANTI, you called it this non-attachment, but it also, I think, represents the opposite, because it shifts. It's yin and yang. You go from one to the other, good, bad, cold, hot. We learn by comparison and contrast, and I think that's what it provides.
If there's no more questions, thank you. And we look forward to seeing everyone next Sunday.
Next Sunday's talk is on what is Theosophy. And today being, this is the first Sunday of the month, so usually we have the Ocean of Theosophy after a short break for refreshments and getting together and saying hello to each other. And then we'll start our Ocean of Theosophy study group. So see you on video next week, perhaps. Thank you. Bye.